So the 2021 NBA playoffs are officially underway. They were nothing short of exciting. Even though my team was not in it, they unfortunately fell short. I still watch it as a basketball fan. And as a basketball fan, I thought it was very, very exciting just seeing all these game ones. There were some upsets, which was great. And you probably noticed by now, why are you wearing a Portland Trail Blazers jersey? You're a bandwagoner. Here's my explanation. I am not a Portland Trailblazers fan, but I am a Damian Lillard fan, and here's why. Damian Lillard is from Oakland, and he's a huge Raiders fan. He's a huge A's fan. He's like me. He likes all the same teams as me. Damian Lillard is like a local legend, even though he's not on the Warriors. He's my favorite player in the NBA that isn't on the Warriors. So for that reason, I am rooting for the Portland Trailblazers because I would love to see Damian Lillard succeed in the playoffs. So there's my explanation, right? So yeah, let's get into all these games. There was 8 games, and yeah. So the first game was very close. It was between the Miami Heat and Milwaukee Bucks, and it finished in overtime with the Bucks winning by some clutch shooting, Chris Middleton, and good playmaking by Giannis. They won 109 to 107 in Game 1, and that was in overtime, like I said. So yeah, with the most points was actually Chris Middleton. Giannis had the second most points for the Bucks. And yeah, pretty good game. Duncan Robinson played good for Miami. So yeah, good win for them. They get that nice win. Like I said, a lot of clutch shooting. I expect this to be a good series. My prediction, I'm guessing 6 games. I'm going to go with Milwaukee winning, but I'm guessing 6 games just based on the game 1. So yeah, final score 109 Milwaukee Bucks, 107 Miami Heat. The next game I'm going to talk about is the Clippers versus Mavericks game, in which the Mavericks got a pretty good win. And it was 113-103. Dallas, obviously, a very good team. So is the Clippers, but the Clippers this year had a better year in terms of like winning and stuff like that. But there's kind of this ongoing joke about calling Paul George Pandemic P because of last year's performance in the bubble. So, obviously he's got that chip on his shoulder, but, a lot of people are like making fun of the way he plays. And he could be playing better. Kawhi Leonard had 26, 23 for Paul George, but the Mavs were just unstoppable. Luka Doncic with a triple-double, 41 minutes, 31 points, 11 assists, and 10 rebounds. Yeah, you look at, the shooting for the Clippers, it goes back to like the jokes that people are talking about. 27% on threes is not what you want, right? And that comes from, Paul George is one of their best 3-point shooters on that team. So, that's definitely part of it. So, yeah, they got to step up. I think Dallas has a shot at taking this series, but we'll see. Next game was a matchup for the ages, the Brooklyn Nets and the Boston Celtics. So the Nets took a pretty dominating 104-93 win. The Nets are obviously by many favorites to win the NBA title. And they just pretty much outplayed them. The best player for Boston was Jason Tatum, but he only had 22 points. Marcus Smart had 17. And obviously, they're kind of shorthanded at times. Jaylen Brown, obviously not having him, he's a big part of it. But I think even if they had Jaylen Brown, the Nets would still probably get the win regardless because, it's the Nets. They have a very good team. Kyrie Irving had 29, Joe Harris 10, Kevin Durant 32. He had a double-double as well. 21 for James Harden, almost a triple-double for Harden. But yeah, they're a favorite by many to win it. I would not be surprised at all if the Nets sweep this series because just based on the way they play, right? So, yeah, good win for the Nets, 104-93. Now, the next game I watched closely because, like I said, I'm rooting for Portland because my boy Damian Lillard, he even had a Raiders tattoo. So I very much am rooting for Damian Lillard to succeed. And boy, did he succeed. He had a double-double with 34 points, and the Trailblazers upset the Nuggets in Game 1. Pretty dominating win, 123-109 in Denver, and Portland now leads 1-0. CJ McCollum for Portland also played pretty good. He had 21. The reigning dunk contest winner, Anthony Simons, had 14 points, 18 for Carmelo Anthony. He was coming off the bench, so they have a pretty good depth in their lineup. And yeah, the Nuggets obviously have MVP candidate Nikola Jokic. He had 34 points, good game for him, and 16 rebounds, so a double-double. But obviously they don't have Jamal Murray. I've talked about it before, how he actually got injured against the Warriors, so, that's unfortunate for them. But Aaron Gordon had 16, and they're just going to try to, win this series regardless of those injuries. So the next game, 76ers and Wizards. This game was close for the most part. I'm kind of rooting for the underdog in this one, the Wizards, but they lost by 7, 125 to 118. They're a very interesting story. They started out the worst team in the NBA, and now they're making a comeback with Bradley Beal. He played 41 minutes, 33 points, and 10 rebounds, 6 assists, so a double-double. Westbrook had a double-double with 14 assists and 16 points. 12 for Hachimura, 12 for Len, and 14 for Bertans, and 12 for Gafford. But, the Sixers obviously have MVP candidate Joel Embiid, and 30 points for him in 30 minutes. Really good game for him. 37 for Tobias Harris. I wouldn't have expected that, honestly, but really good game for him. And 76ers get the win at home, so they lead the series 1-0. Next game was very exciting, in my opinion, and I kind of was happy about the outcome. The Lakers lost to the Suns 99-90, so not as high of a score as some of the other games, but a good game regardless. There was a lot of tension in this game. Obviously, two very good Western Conference teams. I don't know if you consider the Lakers really good this year, but they're pretty good. And there were some fouls and stuff. Obviously, whenever you have LeBron, there's going to be some sort of controversial foul. And there were some loose ball fouls that led to some scraps between Caruso and some of the Suns players. But the Suns, they got the nice win, and I'm rooting for them. I'm putting my biases out there. Devin Booker is unstoppable. 34 points for him. 21 for Ayton. Chris Paul only had 7 points, but it doesn't matter. They still got the win, right? The Lakers, they didn't play that good. 18 for LeBron. That's a decent amount of points, but for LeBron, the quote-unquote king of basketball, I don't know if that's necessarily the performance. And the Suns were outplayed in the fourth quarter, but they still got the win. So, yeah. Next game was the best game, maybe besides the Utah one, but this is one of the best games of the entire game ones. Atlanta Hawks at New York Knicks, two very young, good teams. This game was all about the bench for New York. They had over 50 points, but the Hawks, Trae Young is amazing. He got many, many points. He actually got 32 points for Young. He got the game-winning basket with under a second left. There was 0.9 seconds left, and the Hawks won 107-105. This game was awesome. I don't really care about either team. I didn't care who won. But, it was great. You saw Derrick Rose, the youngest MVP ever, obviously past where he was then due to injuries, but he's still really good. Alec Burks was amazing. Coming off the bench with 27 points. He had more points than any of the starters. Elfrid Payton had 0 points in the starting lineup. Julius Randle didn't play that well despite having a double-double, which ultimately lost him the game. I say Julius Randle, the most improved player candidate, if he plays to his top level, the Knicks win this game, but they didn't because of that. And the Hawks, like I said, played really good. Bogdan Bogdanovic played pretty good. He got some really good clutch shots. 12 for John Collins, and like I said, 32 for Trae Young. His first playoff game, and this is a weird year because it's like the Knicks' first playoff appearance since 2013. We have a lot of younger teams such as the Grizzlies, such as the Hawks, such as the Knicks, in the playoffs. So the final game was a really big upset. An 8 seed beat a 1 seed. And I was a little bit torn in this game on who to root for because it was the Grizzlies, the team that just knocked out my Warriors a couple of nights ago. And we had the Utah Jazz, who, are first place, so I don't know if I want to root for them. But I was actually rooting for the Grizzlies. Despite them beating us, I thought it would be cool if an 8 seed beat a 1 seed. And they did in the first game. In Utah, the Grizzlies, beat the Jazz 112-109. And for most of this game, the Grizzlies led. Towards the end, the Jazz had a pretty decent comeback. Bojan Bogdanovic hit some clutch shots. Mike Conley hit some as well. Rudy Gobert played pretty good, but he did foul out. And I'd argue that's maybe the reason they lost. He's got the best plus minus in the league, meaning that, obviously when he's on the court, his team's scoring a lot. And for him fouling out, that basically, I'd say not single-handedly, maybe second-handedly lost them the game. Because they only lost by 3. It was very close. It was down to the free throw game pretty much. But Memphis played really good. And they had a really, really good game from Dillon Brooks. John Morant too, but Dillon Brooks, great player. Throughout. Obviously I'm still upset that the Warriors got knocked out, but he did really good. I respect that a ton. Same with John Morant, 26 points. He was, leading the charge. Jonas Valanciunas got some clutch rebounds. He had a double-double with 15 points and 12 rebounds. So they got that win, pulling the upset. I love upsets. I think they're really cool. You know, when Portland got that was cool. You know, obviously this one, and that's what the NBA playoffs are all about. So, anyways, guys, that's all the game ones of the round one. This is gonna be a great playoffs. I can already tell by all these matchups. So, anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts, and yeah, see you in the next one.